Actually, it's not only Israel that was surprised by this operation. It's not the EU, it's not the US, it's not the Arab countries, it's not the Islamic countries. Even us as a Palestinians, me myself actually was extremely surprised. But what I've seen in this operation, that those people, as I mentioned, there is a lack of hope. Those people are living for 17 years under inhumane conditions. Those people, if there is like average for their ages, those people like 25 years old. At 25 years old, Palestinian youth didn't see even a single plane landing in our airports, because simply we have no airport. And the only airport we had, Israel completely destroyed it. Those people didn't see even a single ship docking in our shores, simply because Israel didn't allow us to construct a seaport. Those people are living for more than 17 years, since 2006, under inhumane conditions. This country, this spot, which is called the Gaza Strip or the coastal enclave, is among the most crowded places in the world. This place or this area is among the poorest, the most impoverished place in the world, with no, how can I say, humanitarian conditions are expected by this occupation in this area. That's why those people found themselves living in miserable conditions, no hope, no prospect for political solution, no, how can I say, nothing to be achieved in their future. And there is something very important, actually, that those people, dozens of the Palestinian youth started to leave the Gaza Strip and go out to Europe via, come here to Turkey and then to Greece. So dozens of thousands of their relatives, of their cousins, of their brothers and sisters are leaving their homeland to go to Europe, which was like an Israeli scheme, an Israeli plan with the European Union to encourage, to embolden Palestinians to leave the Gaza Strip and go out, to keep the Gaza Strip as an area of no people, of no population. Me, myself, actually, I see Hamas wanted to achieve many goals. The first one is to liberate dozens of thousands or thousands of Palestinian prisoners from the Israeli jails. Since the first moment, the early moment, when I saw the news that many of the Israeli prisoners or Israeli soldiers were captured by the Hamas groups, I told myself that this operation was made or was planned at the beginning to free thousands of the Palestinian prisoners from the Israeli jails. This is first. The second thing, those people had engaged in talks with the Qatari mediator, with the Egyptian mediator, with the EU mediators, and told the Israelis, stop your violations against Al-Aqsa Mosque. And the Israelis, unfortunately, didn't give a deaf ear on this regard, unfortunately. And the Israeli extremist government was encouraging the incursions of the Al-Aqsa Mosque on daily basis. In the latest 7 days or 10 days, we had a daily news story that hundreds of the Israeli extremists stormed or broke into Al-Aqsa Mosque. By this operation, Hamas, I think, wanted to send a message that stop the Israeli violations against Al-Aqsa Mosque, which, how can I say, composes something big not only for Palestinians, something big for the Islamic nation and the Arab nation at the same time. The third thing, Hamas wanted by this operation to send a message to stop the Israeli expansion in the West Bank. Israel is expanding its settlements in the West Bank. If 20 years before, if we had 100 settlements, now we had 1,000 settlement units in the West Bank. Hamas wanted actually as well to end the Israeli settlement in the West Bank as well. And the most importantly, Hamas wanted to end the 17 years blockade or siege imposed on the Gaza Strip. You know very well, in 2006, when Hamas freely was elected by the Palestinian people, Israel, the US, the European Union, and the international community imposed an inhumane siege blockade over the Gaza Strip. Those people are living in inhumane conditions for more than 17 years. By this operation, by this surprising operation that no one expected, Hamas wanted to send a message for the international community that it's the exact time to end this inhumane conditions, to end this unjust siege imposed over Gaza for more than 17 years. I think Palestinians can disagree every day on the political things, but when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to the conflict with the Israeli occupation, I think Palestinians always were unified, were united in this regard. I think by this operation, it's gonna push the internal Palestinian situation, Hamas, Fatah, the Popular Front, and the other, the Islamic Jihad, to work together against the Israeli occupation, because the scheme, the plan of the Israeli occupation was extremely big. And this plan, as I mentioned, to evacuate Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, to evacuate Palestinians from the West Bank, to split Palestine into 3 lands or 4 lands, to split the Gaza Strip into 3 or 4 areas. I think Palestinians gonna face this scheme or this plan united. And if it's not by this operation, and we have seen hundreds of Palestinians are being killed, massacred by the Israeli occupation in the Gaza Strip and West Bank, if this movement, Palestinians are not united, I think they will not be united at all. I think by Hamas operation, by the Islamic Jihad taking part in this operation, by the position of the President Abbas, and me myself, I cannot see the position of President Abbas extremely positive. It's good, but I think Palestinians are waiting more from the Palestinian president. Palestinians are waiting more that the Palestinian president should engage in a political discourse to talk to the international community to stop the massacres being committed on a daily basis against the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip. Palestinian president should come at least to speak to the Palestinian factions, to come to Gaza to declare that he's going to be sue the Israeli commanders, the Israeli leaders before the International Criminal Court. I think Palestinians are united, okay, but more are expected from Palestinian president. It's nothing but hypocrisy. It's nothing but hypocrisy. The international community is always practicing hypocrite policies against the Palestinians. When it comes to Israel, the international community is always backing Israel. When it comes to Palestinians suffering, the international community is like turning a blind eye on the Palestinian suffering. That's why Palestinians are calling on the free people across the globe to come together and to demonstrate in front of the US embassies and the Israeli embassies all over the world in order to exert more pressure against the US, because now US like made an open support, an open record of support to Israel. They told them, we will help you by financial support, by military support, but finance, by health, by medical support. The all means of support Israel needed will be covered by the US. Unfortunately, this makes the US declaring an international war against Palestinians. From the Islamic Ummah, I think more is expected. More is expected from the Islamic Ummah, especially from Turkey, from Pakistan, from Malaysia, from the free people across the globe. Until now, I think what done so far is good, but more is expected from the Palestinian people in general and those people in the Gaza Strip in particular. The attack against Palestinians, the attack against Gazans these days, something very huge. It's unprecedented, as you mentioned. And as the attack is huge and unprecedented, the action and reaction of the Islamic Ummah, the reaction of the free people across the globe should be unprecedented as well. This is something very critical as well. Unfortunately, just days before the operation done by the Palestinian resistance against Israel, it was said that many of Arab countries and Muslim countries are going to be engaged in reconciliation and normalization process with the Israeli occupation. Nothing being presented by the Israeli occupation in exchange for, in return. Nothing was presented, unfortunately, which meant that the Arab reconciliation with Israel or normalization with Israel is gonna be like a treason in the back of the Palestinian people. And I think like these operations, like such kind of resistance against the Israeli occupation is gonna not ending, at least to delay, to postpone such moves from the Arab countries. At least it's like disclose the ugly face of the Israeli occupation. I don't want to say it, but I want from our brothers in Saudi Arabia to see with whom they are gonna normalize their ties. With whom? Those people are killing Palestinian children on a daily basis. They are massacring Palestinian women. They are raiding the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is one of the 2 or 3 most sacred places in the world. If there is Mecca and Medina, the third thing or the third city is Jerusalem. I think an attack on Jerusalem, it's directly attacking Mecca and attacking the Medina, the 2 holy mosques there. We hope that this operation not only delay, not only postpone, but totally cancel the future reconciliation or normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel, because this entity, the Israeli entity, is an entity not to make relations with, is an entity to boycott, because this regime is totally apartheid regime that came to end the Palestinian, not only to end but to terminate Palestinians and their just rights. So Israel didn't give Palestinians the right to return, didn't give Palestinians the right to their self-determination, didn't free any Palestinian prisoner, didn't give Palestinians the right to worship, the right to move, didn't give any concessions for Palestinians. That's why I think it's not the exact time to normalize ties with Zionist entity called Israel. I think the Arab leaders are looking cautiously to this operation, because anything comes big between Hezbollah and Israel, between Hamas and Israel, and between Iran and Israel in the future. Me, myself, I'm not expecting something big. But if there is something big happens, I think it's going to be a regional war. And any regional war not only will affect Palestinians, but will affect the entire region. That's why.